Do you find yourself asking, why is everybody still talking about Sweet Baby Inc? Why is this all anyone can talk about, especially in the nerd spaces and the gamer spaces? Well, welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and this is exactly why. 140,000 followers, almost 141,000, when 2 days ago it was at 70,000. 50,000 new followers on this curation page. Now, you might find yourself wondering, what is going on? Why is it that this is not losing any sort of steam when we've gotten used to a 24-hour news cycle where it's just bing, bang, boom, on to the next big thing? This is why. Sweet Baby Inc. CEO makes it clear she wants to erase white male lead characters while employee shows disdain for white people. And you know what? This isn't going to be one of those, oh, poor white people sort of things. This is the fact of the matter that there's a culture war going on. You guys know there's a culture war going on. And these individuals have been investing in this culture war due to their ideology for God knows how long now, at least the last 10 years, ever since the original Gamergate started in 2014. So hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and there is nothing more newsworthy than what we've got going on right now. But again, I want 140, let's refresh. 141,000. Just since starting this video, it has crossed over to the 141,000 mark. So when you see things like the Sweet Baby Inc. CEO wants to erase white male lead characters, well, let's be real, straight white males, probably the largest demographic in the nerd space. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of support for this, and it's only going to keep growing. It got 50,000-ish new followers in the last 24 hours. You really can't undersell that. Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair made it abundantly clear the company wants to erase white male lead characters, while the company's employee, Maya Kramer, expressed her disdain for white people. And at that point, that's not just males, it's just white people in general. So all you white females watching this, because I know you're like 6% of my audience, they're coming for you too. Back in 2020, Belair spoke with complications ensue, where she was asked to explain the importance of what she's trying to do. She answered, "We're hitting, 40 years of video games? I think people are starting to ask, why are we making very similar products? Why are a lot of our stories not resonating with the younger audiences? Why is our audience not growing?" Hold on. As said in my recent stream yesterday, the Countercast, hopefully you guys check that out. It was a great show with Horror Amarada, Sheep City, and Hypnotic. The audience is absolutely growing. You want to know how we know the audience is growing? Because video games are the largest entertainment industry in the world. That is not something I'm making up. I'm not exaggerating for comedic effect. Quite literally, video games, in terms of the money they generate, in terms of revenue, eclipses any and all other forms of entertainment. It eclipses movies, it eclipses comics, it eclipses books. The MCU's financial stability before they went downhill can't hold a torch to the amount of money that's generated by video games. So what do you mean when you say the audience is not growing? The audience has been ever expanding, and you're right, it's been expanding to more than just the straight white basement dwelling males who played Pong in 1979. It does include a lot of women, a lot of people of other minority cases, whatever you want to call it. Yes, gaming has absolutely grown. But the games people have been playing, the ones that are universally loved, are still loved by everybody. You're not going to find too many individuals of a minority skin tone or, have a vagina between their legs. They're going to be like, I don't like Spyro the Dragon because it's not inclusive enough. That's just not happening. So, obviously, they're going with either outdated information or they're full-on lying to try and make a case that doesn't need to be made because, well, it's only half-truths, if any truth at all. I like to say that representation is innovation. I think when people are asking for diverse stories, we're not asking for the same story with, diverse characters. Yet that's exactly what's been going on. Well, what was the Little Mermaid, the live-action Little Mermaid remake from Disney, if not the exact same story, but with diverse characters? Or as Sheep City so aptly pointed out, what is Miles Morales' story, if not a carbon copy of everything Peter Parker's already been through, but with a diverse character? If you want to give us a unique, new, diverse story, by all means, go for it. But I don't see a whole lot of attempts at that, and the attempts that I've seen are far more focused on putting forth the ideology and the identity as more important than the actual story content itself. So of course people are going to innately reject it because we can see through it. We know it's bogus. That's what Sweet Baby Inc. is focusing on. But of course the CEO and all the individuals like Felix and Chris Kindred want to say, oh, they don't even know what we do, even though it's blatantly stated on their website what they do, what myself and many other YouTubers have gone over time and time again, because you've had it very publicly facing. And if you're so proud of it being so publicly facing, why are you now trying to hide it or pretend that people don't understand or don't follow it? These individuals have no idea what they are talking about. They are actively lying to you, and worse so, probably lying to these large gaming corporations that employ them because, hey, that's how we're going to make money, is by lying and making these corporations believe there's an audience there that is not there to push said ideology, which is more important than the quality of what the product is that you're paying for. We have to look at story and narrative as one of the things that we can innovate on, she continued. Like when you bring someone in from a different culture, from a different background, from a different gender, they're going to create something we haven't seen before. Are we? Are they really going to create something you haven't seen before? Because once again, as pointed out on the show yesterday, everyone from all walks of life across the entire planet has the same general idea of the concepts of right and wrong, has the same versions with the little variations of the creationism myth, whether it be the 3-act structure, the hero's journey. You can go to the literature of all different portions of the world and parts of the world, and they are actually very similar. So I don't see how bringing someone in of a different gender or a different background is actually going to create something we haven't seen before when you look at the similarities of the texts of all these different cultures. And you know what? That's a good thing, because that should mean if you've got a black dude, a white dude, and a Jewish dude all working together on the same game, there probably isn't going to be a whole lot of conflict, because they all have the same general ideas of right and wrong and character development and story progression, because it's been the same throughout all the collective human history, regardless of the little subtle nuances and differences in their stories, in their mythologies. Next, she said, the way we look at demographics is that we go, okay, the majority of our player base is, let's say, a white male, so we're going to make stuff for white males. But if you make something from the perspective of an Asian trans woman, and it's really strong, then it will work for people. Okay, yes, technically she is correct in this. However, no one cares about that, because when you take something and make it from the perspective of the Asian trans woman, you put so much emphasis on the fact that the character is in fact Asian and or trans. Now granted, I can't think of a game off the top of my head that uses an Asian trans woman, but if you were to do that, that's what we know you do, because you do it with every single other character. You talk about how important the blackness is, or how important the fact that they're female is, or how important it is that they are, impoverished, or insert whatever other narrative you want to point out, instead of letting the game or the narrative function naturally and just let the player be absorbed in whatever struggles the character is going through or the world that they are lost in. No, you want to hammer home your real life ideology that you have planted in this game, if only to make sure that people growing up, the little kids that are playing games now, are raised in that ideology and think of it as normal. So you know what? If you made a game with an Asian trans woman and didn't bring up that they were an Asian trans woman at all, yeah, guess what? That would work for people. You want to know why? We saw it work for Metroid. Not that Samus is trans, but we have seen it work for Metroid. You had no idea that Samus was a female character when you're first playing through Metroid. You're just playing through the game, enjoying the game as is, enjoying the what limited story there was, because let's be real, early ages of the video games didn't exactly have the most nuanced story due to the limitations. But the fact of the matter is, when you find out that Samus is a female at the end, it's a surprise. It's a novelty. It's super cool. And that goes on and on, to the point where some people's first Metroid game was probably Metroid Prime. At that point, games very much had a story. But you know what? They weren't buying Metroid Prime because I want to play as Samus because she's female. They were buying Metroid Prime because they wanted to play Metroid, because the game had a very good, solid reputation as being a well-crafted series that Nintendo put a lot of heart and soul into. Bair explained, people crave new stories. If you want to innovate, even to stay current, it's not about graphics, it's not about hardware, it's about opening up new perspectives for people. So I explain it as, it's important in game development to diversify. It's not just part of advocacy or activism, it's going to make your games better. It absolutely is part of activism though, because that's all you care about. You are quite literally an activist company. That is why people hire you for whatever reason. You get Square Enix on the line, and Square Enix thinks, hey, all these Americans wanted to vote for Biden because apparently the online culturescape, with Twitter has taught us that everyone hates Trump, so we should go ahead and, just hire this company that has a lot of leftist ideology, because clearly they know what Americans want. If we let them inject their American-centric focus into these games, even though it's not what real Americanism is, then by all means, that means our game is going to sell better in America and in the Western world in general, and we're going to make a whole lot more money, even though that's not how it actually works. You saw how much it didn't work for Forspoken, for example. Bair would also state, the market has always been frustrating to me because we make assumptions based on what we already have, instead of what we could have. A couple of months ago, we were talking about player choice in Assassin's Creed. People were saying, well, no matter how good this female character is, a majority of players played as the male character, so therefore people prefer male characters. So what you're saying is, you followed the data, and this is what the data led you to believe. Yeah, that sounds about right. I would say that Assassin's Creed probably absolutely skews male. However, do this with Pokemon. Do it with Pokemon where you get to choose male or female at the beginning of the game. I bet you have a lot closer of a split because there's a lot closer of a split between male and females when it comes to purchasing Pokemon. Well, now, I don't know this. I'm just going off the assumption, my anecdotal experiences with Pokemon. But Pokemon is the largest IP in the world, so you don't get to be the largest IP in the world unless you appeal to both in a very good way. So yes, I bet you've got a closer to 50-50 split with Pokemon. So you probably got 50% of the people playing the games choosing the female avatar. That's not happening in Assassin's Creed, because I'm gonna be real, I don't know a single person off the top of my dome that enjoys the Assassin's Creed games when it comes to being female. Maybe Classic Cage does, but even her, I've never really heard talk positively about Assassin's Creed, so just show me a woman that enjoys those games. And what I had to explain was, no, actually, from a marketing and psychology perspective, most people are going to choose the gender that they most align with. It doesn't mean that that's what they want, she said. If you're a male identified, it's not that you don't want to play as a woman, you're just going, oh, that one's for me. I'm a guy, I don't go to the ladies' room. I'm gonna call BS on this as well, because you want to know what I do when I play World of Warcraft? I play a female character. If I'm gonna be running around in some fantastical evergreen world with lots of dungeons and I was gonna say Dungeons and Dragons, you know what I mean, lots of mythological concepts, and I'm gonna be looking at the back of this character avatar for God knows how many hours on end because World of Warcraft is addicting, I would like to at least look at a petite female form and not some brutish man ass. She then pointed to Horizon Zero Dawn as an example. We look at the success of something like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a game led by a female character. If they had made it a choice, most players would have played as male, but they didn't, and it was a huge success. It was a huge success because it was a well-made game there was a brand new idea that people could get behind. It was something original, and guess what? You squandered that and destroyed it with the sequel when you decided to make Aloy a fat, frumpy nothing that no one wanted to play as, just literally a pig in dreadlocks, and look what happened. Then the DLC comes out, they make her a lesbo, because once again, Sweet Baby Inc. is probably one behind that, pushing even more agenda-ridden bogus that we can see right through onto the screen, and people got tired of it. All the celebrations that were coming about for Horizon Zero Dawn dropped off the face of the planet the moment the sequel was announced, and we saw Aloy and the fact that she had blown up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Maybe the most interesting part of Belair's comments came when she admitted that she believes gamers are a captured audience and will accept brands no matter what kind of changes are made to them. Now that I would probably agree with. I made that point in my previous Sweet Baby Inc. video because, yeah, I wonder how many individuals are going to boycott GTA 6 if it turns out Sweet Baby Inc. is involved, because you know what? Gamers are a captured brand. You jingle keys in front of them and they jump into it. You know, people, like, let's take Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for example. Everyone is loving Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, despite being very upset about the censorship that's been going on by Square Enix in the last several months to several years. But damn, people are still excited to play Final Fantasy Rebirth, and you know what? No big deal. If you want to enjoy that escapism, even though you know you're technically contributing to the fact that, hey, this is allowing the censorship to continue, guess what? That escapism, that happiness is so rare, you go ahead, take it, I understand, but just these people also know, yeah, technically I am a contributing factor to this when I do pay for the game. You gotta give a little, take a little. So I will say Belair is correct there. That's a mentality that needs to change among gamers. She said, I think the majority of the men, if you had Assassin's Creed starring a woman, they would play it anyway. Aside from a couple of trolls on Twitter, odds are they're gonna go, oh, this is the brand that I like, I'm just going to play. Aside from Belair's comments on one of the company's employees, or at least some of their consultants, Maya Kramer made it clear her disdain for white male characters in video games. In 2016, Kramer wrote, I'm a sucker for a warrior wear, so I bought Peter Panic. Also, I don't know why games featuring human characters are still so white and male. I'm a sucker for warrior wear? Maybe they mean WarioWare, so I bought Peter Panic? Either way, I don't know why games featuring human characters are still so white and male. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's a very identifiable type of character. Also, it's not like games don't have people of color in them. You can play a vast majority of games, you know, that have characters of color, or you can create your character, you can make yourself black, you can make yourself Asian, whatever, or there's the upcoming Stellar Blade. In Stellar Blade, you play as an Asian woman. That is two different types of diversity, but you guys are shitting all over that because the big ass. Pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas, and I brought this one up in my video the day before yesterday, so of course we know all about that. She also appeared to take issue with the games were white and male. She wrote in January 2014, looking around the mixer last night, put into perspective just how white and male our dev scene really is. It's really white and male. It's so strange that you fixate on so much of this, because let's say you got into video games because you love them. Let's give Lego Butts the benefit of the doubt here for just a moment. Let's live in a fantasy world where they're actually being intellectually honest. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say they got into video game development and video game creation because they love games. Well, then the odds are the games you grew up loving that got you into being in the video game development space were made by a bunch of white men. So wouldn't you say they have contributed mightily to the art form that you claim to love oh so much? Why you got a problem with them now when you clearly had no issue with them growing up, paying for their products, and absolutely loving their products? That's assuming you're actually being honest about being a legitimate gamer and wanting to be in game development. I had a nightmare that I was a white male gamer. Yeah, we covered this one. We covered several of these. And Marx's dog, abort all the Jews? Okay, well, I didn't know about that one. In 2012, Kramer also wrote, abort all the Jews. And you know what? I will say, I gotta give some credit for consistency here. They're probably the first one to throw a fit about Roe v. Wade being overturned, so it's nice to know that going all the way back to 2012, they were still very pro-abortion. But you guys get it? You guys understand what I'm talking about? When you see that the Steam curation page now has almost 150,000 followers over the span of about a week, how this organically cropped up from nowhere, it's because people are pissed off. And this isn't just 150,000 angry white male gamers who are signing this, because I know a lot of dudes who are various skin tones, and I know quite a few women who are like, you know what, fuck Sweet Baby Inc. And that's because they can see through this. They can see through the absolute propaganda, because these are real gamers. They care about their games being good. When they popped on Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, and there was a bunch of side quests about having to save gay people, and there was all the pride flags, and there was the forced inclusion that was Miles Morales effectively usurping Peter Parker at every turn, every single Spider-Man fan and gamer alike collectively said, what the fuck is this? And that was Sweet Baby Inc. And while they're not the only ones, they're the ones that we're shining the light on now, and hopefully what's becoming of Sweet Baby Inc. will soon become of all these other consulting firms that have done nothing but serve to destroy the gaming culture that you've grown up loving for God knows how long. For me, at least the late 90s. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about video games and Sweet Baby Inc., but let's be real, that's the hot button topic right now, and we cannot let this die until Sweet Baby Inc. dies. But by all means, check out the other content. Also follow me on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and check out the merch store. Use discount code VitalIdol. Get yourself a shirt or a mug. Become a member. Join the Discord. You know the drill. And until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.